Hi. So for my first student teaching rotation, I am at the Central Institute for the Deaf, which is a private school for children with hearing loss, which specifically focuses on teaching listening and spoken language. I am currently student teaching in a contained classroom with 4 students with severe to profound hearing loss and 1 hearing peer who joins us for certain points throughout the morning. All of my students are between 5 and 6 years old, and our schedule is consistent every day for the most part. It starts at 8:30 when the students come in, and they come in and get settled, put their backpacks away, lunch boxes. I perform a listening check on each child's device. We then move on to circle time, which is just a daily routine that the kids are really used to. We do attendance, talk about the calendar, the day of the week, the months of the year, the weather outside, read a poem. It's basically very repetitive, but a good routine for the students. We then move into 2 half-hour structured language lessons with our 4 students who are deaf and hard of hearing, and this is where we provide intense, direct instruction in vocabulary and syntax. From there, we move into a 45-minute conversational language period of the day, which is made up of snack time and a activity for the students, and this is where we want to get the students talking and using that language that we drilled in structured language in a more conversational, natural setting. And from there, we move to 15 minutes of another calendar lesson, so the students can start to get the hang of that and learn the date and how that is presented. And then finally, we move into 30 minutes of a literacy lesson. And every day I have certain responsibilities that are consistent each day. I am in charge of listening checks in the morning. I run circle time. I also run snack and calendar each day, so that stays the same. As far as lessons go, I have taught a lesson, at least one lesson every day since probably the second week that I started there, and my cooperating teacher has been great for rotating me through different lessons so I can teach a whole week's long worth of lessons. I can plan it, prep it, and teach it for the entire week in structured conversation and literacy. So that has been great, and those are basically my responsibilities in this classroom. The most challenging situation that I have had so far has been behavior management, specifically one situation where I had a student who really had a behavioral disruption during my lesson, and it really took over my lesson, and it got to a point where I had to leave the classroom with the student and my cooperating teacher had to take over. And this was like a half hour of full-blown tantrum going on outside, and I think it was challenging because I was overwhelmed. I was uncomfortable. I knew that someone was watching me and, taking in how I was treating the situation. So I think that's why it was so challenging for me, because I really had to think, how can I de-escalate the situation? And I do think it ended up ending successfully, because it took a while. We were out in the hallway for a long time, but I do feel that I was able to calm the student down to a point where we could talk and have a conversation, and I could explain why she was in trouble and why she had to listen, and how we act when we're at school. And we were able to re-enter the classroom and rejoin the lesson, and I was able to continue on and teach my lesson. So I think in the moment it was really challenging, but it did end successfully for the most part. As far as my most successful situation, I had one literacy lesson that I felt really good about when it was over. We just read a book. It was called Ginger, and it was about a cat who got a new kitten brother, and it was really just a the first day of my week long of literacy lessons, and it was really just a book walk and a reading to the students, and I felt really in tune with them. I felt really comfortable asking them comprehension questions and drawing their attention to certain things, asking questions that really targeted theory of mind and things like that. And I felt really comfortable, which made me feel like I was more confident, and it made me focus and teach better. So that's where I felt my most successful situation happened. And as far as interesting facts about my current placement, I have 2 students with hearing loss who have an additional diagnosis of auditory neuropathy spectrum disorder. And this is interesting because my cooperating teacher doesn't fully know the extent of how it impacts them throughout the day, and we're kind of learning together how to gauge when we're having a language breakdown or if we're having an attention breakdown, or how to target certain challenges for the student. And it's been really interesting because we've been able to work on it together, and it's just interesting to see how it impacts both children differently, and it really impacts their learning, their attention, their behavior, and their emotion as well. So that has been the most interesting fun fact about my current placement. So yeah, thank you.